a spring note on A League of Their Own. Um, this is an interesting film with a stellar cast. We have Tom Hanks in his early days. I think this is before Philadelphia, and a long time ago, from Sully of last year, the last Tom Hanks film, which critics believed should have been included at the Oscars, at least for the performance of Tom Hanks as the pilot of the airplane which landed on the Hudson River. Extraordinary achievement, a real event, which was followed by an investigation. There was a question if the captain should have tried to reach Newark or another airport nearby. Turns out it wasn't possible, so what he did was really extraordinary and apparently the only available option, risky as it was. Forrest Gump, of course, I was thinking also Forrest Gump earlier on. A good few, maybe couple of decades before Forrest Gump. A League of Their Own, Geena Davis, wonderful in her role. We also have an exotic element, Madonna. Madonna, the singer, is present in this film, as well as Rosie McDonald. And this League of Their Own is about baseball. It takes place during the war, Second World War, and because men were fighting the Germans and the Japanese on the front lines, an idea to use women who play baseball was put into practice, and there were all sorts of challenges, and there was sexism. Women, of course, even in the world of today, still have to fight for their rights. In parts of the world, they have no rights. In Saudi Arabia, for instance, if they want to drive a car or practically do anything, they have to ask permission from a male supervisor or controller, I don't know how to call it. It can often be a younger brother abusing his position and taking advantage. They cannot travel abroad, or it's terrible. But then, even in America during the war, there were women. I'm thinking of this instance of a player who comes to see the list with who's in, who's allowed to join the teams, and who was rejected. And she's very upset, and she's near this list, and she doesn't know what to do because she cannot read. One of the other girls, women, quite a number of them are married, and their husbands are on the front. One of the women there understands what's going on. Women have this excellent emotional intelligence, better than men generally, and reads the list for her. Speaking of EI or EQ, in emotional intelligence anyway, there is another moment when I was thinking the woman more sensitive and emotional is affected when Tom Hanks, who plays the coach, is very rude to her. Termină, shouts and potolește că te aud. Uh, and she starts crying. The fact that it's baseball, which is not very familiar with us viewers in Europe and other parts of the world, except I don't know Japan, well, the US obviously, but then Japan, Cuba, and I don't know what other countries which are so keen on baseball. Does not help with watching this film because there will be quite a few things we do not understand. Some of them are obvious and make for entertainment and comedy. Another scene is that when in which Tom Hanks wakes up from his continuous hangover. He drinks a lot. He cannot go to the war because of a knee, and he doesn't like this position. He doesn't have a calling to be a coach for women. Because women you date and try to sleep with them after the game, but that's not. I mean, that's just such a silly thing to do. He says. But then in one game, for some reason, he's awake and aware of what's going on for a while, and he doesn't like what's going on. He says, "No, no, no, you don't use this kind of shot." And he starts, you make the signs, and he starts making the signs for what shot he wants. But Geena Davis was saying, so now you want to coach, to be the coach, huh? Referring to what I've mentioned, his alcoholism and drinking problem. And she's suggesting the shot she wanted. She planned, and and they both make their own signs for their own preferred shot, and that makes for a funny moment. Terminal. And so the film was interesting, if not one of the best.